What's like your guilty pleasures?
Shows for just me and my wife.
Yeah, we'll start with that.
Okay. We're big into Love Island. Absolutely big into Love Island. And when I say we're big into Love Island, like this isn't my wife watches it and I just sit there. No, I'm fully invested. I have a group chat with my wife and her sisters. They watch it too. We all text about it. Our group chat is called I Got a Text, which is what they yell when they get a text in the show. So I am fully invested. I watch it. I love it. So that's kind of the guilty pleasure.
Show. Again, we're two dads just having fun, enjoying sharing the chaos in our lives, and getting permission to play golf every once in a while. In this episode, we will kind of go through, kind of catch up with what happened over this last week, see how life has been, and how much did that actually impact our golf. Of course, that's kind of one of our passions. And of course, including the inevitable and dreaded injuries that plague us and how do we work through it. We'll also take a look at what gear we're using, what's in our bags, and kind of things that we probably should or should not be using or take out that's just weighing us down at this time. So again, if you're listening, watching, don't forget to like us, subscribe if you like what you hear, like what you see. We appreciate it and all the support. And so we're just going to go and get started. And so part of our scrambling life, here we are, early in the morning trying to do this episode while the kids are supposedly asleep. So right off the top of the bat, let's go with the obvious dad topic. What's your morning wake up juice?
This morning, it was an early one. So we had technical difficulties on Wednesday night. So we kicked it to this morning instead for our talk here. So I'm doubling up. Made a nice little Cuban coffee, some sugar, frothed that up, finished that one. And now I'm working on just my straight black coffee here. So we're kicking it off nice and strong. How about yourself?
That's a lot. So are you, well, now that you backed it up with having the black, I was going to say, like, do you have sugar and then
No.
just add a little coffee?
No, I mean, here's the thing. Obviously, we haven't gotten into our background and professions, but I'm in the commercial real estate business. I started off in the general contracting world, and when you get used to drinking what's in a construction trailer, usually a glass pot usually has burnt on coffee at the bottom of it. You learn to just drink anything. So straight black coffee for me. I don't need any of the frills, just anything that gets me going. I know you're a little bit different with your drip coffee over there.
You know me a little too much. Yes, I am not a coffee connoisseur, but a little bougie, as my girls would say it. I experimented. I did. My coffee experience was just, hey, just give me a lot of creamer, a lot of sweetener, and just splash it with coffee. And then as I got older, and like you said, when you go to places, you're kind of just stuck with what's available. The burnt on coffee, the pot that probably hasn't been cleaned in a week, and you just drink what it's there and you just kind of learn. So nowadays I still do the drip when I can, and not a cheap plug or anything like that, but I have been trying the For Wellness additive to kind of see how it goes. But I'm only about 3 weeks in. But other than that, it's pretty black with just the For Wellness additive and maybe one like pump of vanilla just to kind of help it. That's pretty much it. But I do
What?
like a flavor type coffee. I don't usually go
Yeah.
with just straight black all the time.
What's the go-to flavor for you?
Well, right now, the go-to is just kind of like a maple base or kind of like a pecan nutty fruit. It's kind of like the wave. But my absolute favorite is anything with a Kona blend or pure Kona.
You're speaking words I don't even know. A different
It's
language over here.
it's really good. It's because I can't even pronounce it. I think it's like the Arabica bean is the kind of like the general consensus that Starbucks and everybody uses, and then Kona is the Hawaii-based bean, and it just has a different flavor. If you get a good batch, good taste, you'll notice it, especially if you like it black.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give that a try. What I've been really struggling with is here in Texas, obviously, when we play in the summer, you want coffee in the morning. And you and I typically are playing first thing in the morning when we're playing so we can get home and still have family time. When it's 80, 90 degrees, 100% humidity, it is hard to drink a coffee for that first round. Maybe I need to try iced coffee, but I'm struggling when I get out in that early round and I feel like I can't have a coffee.
Yeah, so that's where I definitely jump in on the ice side. Like if it's early, it's on the go, I will definitely dabble into the ice component just because it is too hot. It's like 80 degrees and it's 7:30 in the morning, and I don't want to drink something hot. I want something cool that's still got to wake me up. So ice is definitely way to go. That one I will definitely do one of those blended vanilla cream ones just because it just Makes it a little bit smoother for me.
Yeah, I feel like drinking cold iced black coffee doesn't sound appetizing.
Maybe we should give that a try. Make it one of our segments. Let's do a coffee drink off.
Fine taste test here.
Oh, for sure. Just like by the end of the show, we're gonna be shaking. Oh gosh. So what has this week been like for you? I know you had a round earlier this week and you said you struggled with some aches and pains.
Yeah, I played last Sunday. After our conversation, you asked me if it was going to be a light week. It was not. We were busy. Thursday after we recorded on Wednesday. Thursday, what people haven't really heard yet is our life story, and I'm a blended family, so our two sons were kind of going to their houses on Friday. So Thursday, I was like, well, I want to spend some time with them. They need to get some baseball practice in. So we ended up going to the baseball field, and I think I pitched over 150 pitches between them two and our neighbor that also plays baseball. So I was a little sore from that. And then Friday came around, just kind of hung out. Saturday, we had to go to my wife's cousin's birthday party, not to mention baseball practice in the morning for the boys. Then the in-laws wanted to go play pickleball. So it was a full day. And I woke up Sunday and my back was shot. My shoulder was shot from pitching and catching for the kids. And it was I just never really felt around. I started warming up and hit a couple wedges that I thinned, and I couldn't get down into the ball. Couldn't hit my driver save my life. My tempo was off. I mean, that's new. I mean, you've seen me play with that mini driver, and we'll obviously talk about the bag later, but it's a pretty accurate club for me. I might have a little bit of a draw or fade depending on what I'm playing that day, but it's never been an OB club for me, and I think I hit 3 OB with that. So I was a little, I could tell it was my body. It wasn't my swing. Not to mention league night, I played perfectly fine, and that was 4 days earlier. So 5 days earlier. So taking care of the body. You're not terribly old. I'll be 36 this year, but I'm starting to feel it. It's the grind of the go go go. Plus, I started a new job 3 months ago, and like I mentioned last time we talked, it's a 2 hour commute total there and back. Sometimes a little bit more. So I think the commute sitting in the car, the fact that I'm go 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 as soon as I get home, not typically sitting down till 9:30, 10 o'clock, is definitely causing me to find a new routine that I can take care of my body a little bit. Hopefully minimize those rounds where I just feel really tight.
So what would be your typical kind of like recovery, or what are things that you would do to help kind of get your body loose, kind of get over the tightness or even recover?
Well, you're talking about the For Wellness additive in your coffee. There's plenty of nutrients and supplements like that I think I need to be better about. I've always been bad about taking like a multivitamin. I've always been bad about being consistent taking, even a creatine gummy. I have them in the bathroom, and they're actually pretty good. I remember I was going to the range a lot. My back was sore a lot. Started taking those creatine gummies, and that helped. It helped with the soreness. So I was really good about taking those for a while. Stopped doing that. So I need to be better about doing that. I also need to be better. Like last night, back was just a little tight. I just laid on the floor while we were watching TV with a lacrosse ball, rolling it around on my upper back, doing some stretching. I've really thought about getting into Pilates and just help give everything loose and limber. I think that's the biggest thing. I played soccer all the way up through my freshman year of college. And you don't realize, you practice a lot, you stretch a lot, you're keeping your body loose and limber. And then you get out of that structured practice frame, and then you start having kids and life and this and that. And you stop doing all the things that keep you able to move. So I think I need to be better about that. Maybe incorporating some stretching into my warm up would also help instead of just, swinging a club right away.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm definitely more aged, advanced than you are. I've gone through not as many surgeries as you, but definitely gone through my aches and pains. I mean, when you said you're just laying on the ground with a crossball, I will do that quite often. A crossball foam roller, just lay there. Even with the toddler now, life happens as things are getting crazy, and just like sitting there, it's like, okay, just let's watch a show. Let's just let me stretch, let me lay back and do that. And then the consistency though, that's a tough one. As we talked about before, like some of my routines is getting up super early because it's kind of like the only time I have to do this. And speaking of which, I actually woke up. So I actually did go to the gym this morning. And again, different mindset, going through more dynamic movements, more reps, less weight. So the body doesn't feel it as much. Not so much the muscles, but the joints. That's where it really gets me. It's like the joints really start to ache. The low back is, flares up from time to time, that left hip. And then just consistently just stretching, kind of dabbled in that, talked about that before, like before a round or before the range, just kind of like, hey, while you're eating breakfast or as I start to wake up, I'm actually kind of doing some lunge type movements, I'll even be in the kitchen, like hip on the knee on the counter, my heel on the counter, just trying to like loosen up. A couple months ago we were out playing early morning, cold. I used the seat warmer in my car to get my back relaxed.
It's
We got to
not a
find
bad one.
everything and anything that we can do. But the good news is with even some chiropractic treatment, the stretching, one thing I am proud of, because years ago I used to do like all sports, roller hockey, basketball, all that stuff. I mean, gosh, I would be popping Advil and Tylenol like crazy, and just definitely have cut that out. And so now it's definitely more of just if I really got a bad headache, is the only time I need that stuff. So it's helped to kind of keep that consistency.
Yeah, you talk about ibuprofen, Advil. I mean, there's a period there that stuff lived in my golf bag. I put my motorcycle down in 2017, slid across 3 lanes of traffic, hit a curb, did some decent damage to my back. Not surgical, luckily, but it was enough to put it into a spasm. Had to have injections, and then went to a chiropractor, and was really good about doing that for a long time. I've got to where I've strengthened my core and posterior, which has helped. But I had to do a complete swing change because I couldn't swing a club. I would get off the course and my back would be killing me because of how I used to swing. It was really aggressive. It wasn't good. It wasn't controlled power. There was just a ton of torque on that mid back, which is where I had a vertebrae impingement from that wreck. So it's been a lot of swing change and a lot of practice. And I probably need to be better about the posterior work. Kids, life happens, and I absolutely admire you. I mean, you're 10 years older than me, and you're in better shape than I am. You you actually put the effort in. I admire the fact that you're waking up. I mean, we're doing this at 7 o'clock in the morning, which means you woke up at what, 4:35 to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I admire that. I need to start getting on that. Maybe I need you to hold me accountable on this podcast and get me working out again.
But yeah, it's again with our crazy lives, during, my busy season, it just kind of goes through. It's like I wake up, go to the gym, but with a toddler and trying to help out and not feel guilty about putting it all on the mom. And it's just we'll rotate days. And so my consistency on the gym is fallen off over the last year. But if I could get 3 days a week in the morning, it'd be awesome. And then at that point, I go to work, come home. All right, who's cooking dinner? All right, you are. No, you are. Or who's watching the toddler? So it, like you said, the evening, just even when you get home, it's still work. Bed doesn't happen till like 8, 9 o'clock, and then you're still on that rush, and you're just like trying to find that decompression time.
Yeah, minus in the truck for an hour home. But I'm with you. I can't wait to find a new norm of this job. Like I said, 3 months in, so I still haven't earned the flexibility that I know I will in a few months. Hopefully, at some point, I'll be able to go to the gym first thing in the morning. And if I show up at the office at 9:30, 10, so what? People know that I work around the clock. Shoot, it's July 4th here. We're doing this podcast, and I've been working for the past hour just firing off emails and getting stuff ready for next week. So I just got to get my team and those that I report to understand that I'll work around the clock and give me that flexibility so I can go to the range first thing in the morning or go work out.
Whatever works. Speaking of which, we talked about earlier just decompressing, kind of just what does it take to kind of get ourselves into a sense, and also maybe spending a little bit of that family time in the evening. What are some of the shows? We got the golf, you're running around with the kids, and then, what's something that you and your wife do to help kind of like, hey, we're still kind of like, yeah, we're involved with each other. Let's just have a moment to ourselves, watching something. What's like your guilty pleasures?
Shows for just me and my wife.
Yeah, we'll start with that.
Oof. Okay. I think you're leading me into exactly where this is going.
Yes, I do.
We're big into Love Island. Absolutely big into Love Island. And when I say we're big into Love Island, like this isn't my wife watches it and I just sit there. No, I'm fully invested. I have a group chat with, and you won't get this because you don't watch it, but with my wife and her sisters, they watch it too. We all text about it. Our group chat is called I Got a Text, which is what they yell when they get a text in the show. So we are fully invested. I am fully invested. I watch it. I love it. So that's kind of the guilty pleasure. And it's on, 6 days a week right now. So we watch that most nights. And that's kind of our, mine and Kay's just decompression time. We sit, we watch it. Kids are off playing Fortnite or upstairs doing whatever they're doing. Usually this is after the little one goes to bed. So that's kind of the guilty pleasure. Also, we got into Stick on Apple TV, which is their new golf show, which I guess was written by the same producers as Ted Lasso. So it's got Owen Wilson. It's pretty good as well. So those are kind of the two that we got going on right now. As far as family is concerned, we're not kid show people. Not because there's just nothing that we watch. We'll watch Girl Meets World, and we watched the early episodes of Boy Meets World before they got too old and started having different life things than our boys are ready for at 10 and 9. So then we switched over to Girl Meets World, but then we'll watch a lot of, I want to say, the reality game shows. Survivor, Destination X is on. That's actually a pretty good one right now. The boys seem to like that. We'll watch Lego Masters. We find more of the reality type stuff to watch with them, just because the stuff they want to watch, we don't love. The stuff we want to watch isn't good for them. So we try to find something that's in between. What about you?
Well, let's see. It's a little bit different at this household because, my little bit of history is like my girls are older, they're in college, or, that our show selections are definitely going to be different when they're here. And then when the toddler was much littler, we can get away with a lot more. But they would be into like all the Love Islands and all those other, the Circle and all those other kind of relationship shows. For the Shelbs and I, we just pretty much, Masked Singer has always been a fun one for us. It's always a good decompression. We both kind of like guessing, like kind of like the guessing game. Like, oh, we've heard that voice before. Where do we know that voice? And then we're like way off. I mean, there was a time where she's like, I know that's Nick Carter or AJ of Backstreet Boys or whoever it was, missed the mark. It was so embarrassing. I was just like, what? She's like, I know them. I know the voices. And she missed it big time. But that one's fun because, with our crazy lives, it's something that we like to just put on that we could still cook dinner. And then now we have the little one running around. It's all harmless, easy. It's entertainment. He'll even watch it just because he hears the voice and it's all like a spectacle. And he'll glance at it, kind of get in tune, and then go off and do his own business. So that's always kind of a fun, safe one that we always like to kind of pop on and just, all right, and then just kind of listen to the voices. It is funny. I'll look over, or she'll look over at me, and we're sitting there with our eyes closed, just trying to focus. It's like with our ears. What are we listening to? Who is this guy or lady? It's really funny.
Yeah,
Um,
we used to listen to that one too, or watch it. I should say the boys liked the costumes when they were younger. They thought they were cool little monsters dancing around. So we definitely watched that for a while when the kids
yeah,
were younger.
man, I actually looked up those costumes. I think they average like 100, 150,000.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, that's a lot, but that shockingly doesn't surprise me. I mean, those are pretty extravagant to some extent. You brought up a good thing. You just said dinner. Do y'all still sit at the table and eat? I get when your girls aren't home and off in college and doing their own thing. It's just the three of you with the toddler. Do y'all still sit at kitchen table and eat, or do you watch
Yeah,
TV?
no. So before the baby, we were bad about sitting on the couch, watch our shows. A couple of, I did do reality TV for a while, and I just kind of got bored with it. But it was like um, Below Deck Mediterranean. We enjoyed some of those, and then Only Murders in the Building because we get to watch. It kind of get suspenseful. We like to think a little bit about it. But yeah, now that the toddler's old enough, we're definitely at the table. TV's off, phones are completely to the side, which would minimize how much we're actually looking at the screen. Trying to help him as well, like understand this is family time, we're eating dinner, and you're going to learn to sit. And it's working out really well, but of course, you got to take it as we go. But yeah, we are definitely at a table dinner family.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're trying to get better with the go and baseball practice and golf practice. No, we definitely get in these lulls of just grab dinner, sit, and watch something because all of us are brain dead by the end of the day, anyways. But I am really trying to like be more focused on let's sit down. If I beat Kay home, if she's getting the kids, I'll try to get home. I'll put music on and just listen to music while I'm cooking. I like to cook. That's just that's my thing. The kitchen's my domain. So that's kind of, you talk about decompression. That's my happy place. But there's definitely times that it's like, let's just yo this. You're on your own. Find something. We're gonna sit and just watch TV. But we got to be better about sitting at the table for sure.
Yeah, and that actually what you just said got two different parts here. Kind of just thinking about my side. Divorced years ago, remarried. Obviously, that situation has now all been resolved. But back in the day, the girls, they were into soccer, theater, mostly primarily as their activities, and it was go go go. And yeah, like they have one has a game on in Frisco, and another one has a game in Fort Worth or South Dallas on the same day, different hours. So for the better part of that middle school age for them, it was go, go, go. Hey, let's grab something. We barely sat at the table. It was just kind of like, let's grab something, bring it home. And then we just sit on the couch and just eat because we wanted to decompress. It was a long day. So that was kind of our routine for years. And then remarried, and then all of that just slowly started to kind of balance out for us. But yeah, as far as the cooking, I mean, I enjoy the cooking. We do those subscription food deliveries for us since it's just the three of us. Makes it real simple. Meal planning is cut down. But yeah, the kitchen, I mean, we both take responsibility for it, but I do enjoy it. I like to use some of the more fancier cookware just because it does cook better. Takes a little bit more to clean up sometimes, but like you, I'll be home starting dinner and Shelves will come home and she's like, "You're listening to music?" It's like, you know what? I just can't do a TV show because if I do a show, I want to watch it or it's a repeat show, like something that's just we know and just keeps going. So just throw on something on YouTube or whatever, just let a music station go. And I kind of like music videos. I've always kind of like seeing the story behind their music or
You
what
grew
they
up in
do.
the MTV era.
I did VH1 and all that MTV. So it is a little thing. Like I'd rather watch the video with the music versus just listen to the music.
No, I completely agree. I'm with you there. Yeah, no, I told Casey when we moved into this house, I was like, hey, look, you can have the entire house. There's 2 rooms that I want that are mine. I want to set up. One was the office, as you could see. You got golf flags, and on the other wall, I have putter covers and balls from everywhere that I've played. The kitchen was the second one. It's like that's my domain. She'll cook 2-3 times a week for quick meals. So a few days a week she'll cook to help out, but most of the time I'm the one in the kitchen cooking, and that's my room. It's the happy place. Love to cook, love to grill, and my boys are starting to. I mean, Trip wakes up, um, and he starts cooking breakfast when he's home, which is kind of nice. I'll wake up to him making scrambled eggs and already have breakfast ready to go.
I loved it when my older kids got into the kitchen and started doing their own things. Like I don't have to get up and get you that cereal or pour the milk or put the Pop Tart in so you don't burn yourself or
Yeah,
start a fire.
they start getting self-sufficient, which I mean, full circle on the golf side makes it easier to go play in the mornings. Granted, you have a toddler now, so you're back into the not able to take care of himself mode. But even with my 4-year-old, I mean, if she had to, she is able to wake up, leave her room. She usually has a water in her room anyways, because she has to go to bed with something and she doesn't drink milk. So we just give her a bottle of water and she can go into the pantry, grab a protein bar, granola bar, cereal. She knows how to do all that. She'll grab that and just sit down and play on her iPad if we really let her and wanted. So like even my mornings, outside of the fact that she wakes up at 7:30, morning rounds are great because she can take care of herself. Dude, she's smarter than both my boys combined. Yeah, she's 4 already. Yeah, I say she's 4 already. She'll be 4 in exactly 1 month.
I mean, I have got one in graduated college, one in his third year of college, and now I got this. I started over.
Oh man, yeah, that's a lot. I don't know if I could start over. We prevented that immediately as soon as she was healthy. I took care of that one. It's like we're not having any more. We kind of knew it. We had the 2 boys. We said if this one's a boy, we'll probably try for a fourth. And when we found out she was a girl, I think both of us were
We're happy.
more than ecstatic. I didn't think we wanted 4 kids.
4's a lot.
Well, with us being blended, sometimes we have 1 kid. Sometimes we have 2 kids. Sometimes we have 3 kids. So it is ever changing in this house of who is even in the house half the time, which is fun in and of itself. But we get a glimpse of being double team, being zone coverage, and being man to man.
Yeah,
and it's fun, but it's also exhausting. I mean, when the little one doesn't have her brothers here, she's a little tougher. They keep her entertained. I don't know if entertained is the right word. She likes to pester them.
That's for sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I mean, at the time it was just me and the girls, and then it's just like bouncing between whose house were they in, changing rotations, and of course that also being part of it. It's like even when I didn't have my rotation with them, I was still involved with their life, and that kind of cut into like, hey, their priority. Yeah, I've got soccer game at 8 in the morning. I'll show up, be there, and then take a little bit of break, and then go to the second one, and I was too exhausted to go to the course, go to the range. So, those years were tough trying to keep up with the golf game as well. And then trying to find that balance. I mean, luckily, Shelves is very supportive of it, but, we have our jobs, then we have our side hustle photography, which trying to get caught up with as well. And then now we got the baby, your toddler, and it's now trying to recalibrate, our schedules and trying to find out where I can take on some responsibility, give her a break, or give her a chance to get caught up with stuff, and then vice versa. But it's tricky.
Yeah, you don't have that weekend off anymore that you can go do whatever since y'all have your own now.
Mhm.
Because that was, I say that because out of experience. Casey and I had the same thing, right? We got glimpses of not having any kids. And that's when I would plan my golf. Hey, we're kid free this weekend. She went and did her thing. I'd go play golf. There was no be home by this time because unless we had obligations that we were doing. But you're 100% correct. It's hard to balance because now when we do have the boys, and it's not about when the boys are home because that's not fair to the little one, right? It's not fair to say, oh, well, you're not important and we don't care about family time unless the whole family's together. It's not that, but it is the whole family's only together, 50% of the time. I mean, granted, we have my middle 12 out of 14 days, so that's a little bit different. But with our oldest, he's here 50% of the time. So it's like when he is here and the whole family is together, we have to catch up on the family things. It is sometimes going to sports. It is doing this, it is doing that, but it's also just spending time together. So it's hard to play. It is really hard to play on those weekends. So, I mean, now you take out 26 weekends a year that you can't play, and it makes it tough to finagle getting those rounds in or even getting the practice in. Luckily, my oldest plays, so I can go with him and we kind of get that one-on-one time, but it's hard. It's certainly hard. I do my best to not play on the weekends that the boys are home.
Yeah, I know. We've had discussions like, hey, we got to get out, and you're trying to finagle your weekends. I remember those days trying to rotate, when you have them, and then okay, then I'm busy, and shoot, we will go months at a time before we even reconnect on the course, just because of our schedules.
Yeah, I'm glad that we do this because you and I have always texted quite a bit, but to your point, it was hard to schedule. Shoot, one of my best friends, growing up, I see him probably 4 times a year because he lives about an hour and a half away now. Ended up having lunch with him yesterday. He happened to be in Dallas and hit me up while he was, so we worked up lunch. And we kind of had this exact same conversation of it's hard to get together in person because we both have our own schedules and it's an hour and a half. And my schedule is definitely more demanding than some others with the blended family. So it's hard, especially when you're limited on weekend play.
Yeah, it's just the ever changing life of what we live in now. It's never
Yeah.
going to be consistent.
No, not until kids are grown up and in college.
Even then, that's like there's still a lot of responsibilities that go on. Like I know last week, actually it has to be 2 weekends now. The middle was up in Chicago, like we talked about, and I'm starting to try to find like where it's not like mischievous or anything like that because it's an open book of when I'm going to play, what I'm going to do. But it's like I'm mentally thinking like, where can I squeeze in around? So think about it's like still going up, a dad taking responsibility, just like being there for her and get to see her go through her process. There's those windows where it's like, okay, I'm going to go sneak out, not sneak, but get that round in. But, we've talked about it where, you go out, play, but after travel for me, body's not totally warmed up. It's hard to get loose. And I don't want to show up 2 hours before a tea time and be gone for 7 hours. I just don't want to do that. And then it's mentally like start beating yourself up of, why did I not play well? Or, gosh, this is frustrating because I know I could do better. Then you got to sit back, take that breath, and be, oh, wait, this is a different situation. I'm not in a routine. I'm coming off of lots of travel. Body's not warmed up. I'm not getting the reps in. So, yeah, it's even with college kids, it's still kind of got your dad duties and life, responsibilities that are kind of taking us. I mean, this next week, I'm going to help the other one move out from her college house and get her into her first apartment. So that'll be fun. That's exciting. We're happy for her. And it's kind of like, all right, before the heavy haul of getting that furniture, I said, you know what? I'm going to get a couple of rounds in. I'm kid free for a few days. So I'm going to get out, enjoy the location that we're going to, and get a couple rounds in. Then that second day, the U-Haul, and get her moving.
That's awesome. But you said something there about, you don't want to be gone for 7 hours. The other day, you and I were kind of talking and some about getting older and stretching. And you kind of alluded to the fact that your warm up almost starts when you wake up and are getting ready. You said you're stretching a little bit before you even leave the house. So how do you, I guess, when you're playing, say we have a 6:30 tea time because we've been doing that lately, what time are you waking up so that you can get a decent stretch and warm up in? Because I know you're not showing up an hour and a half early to the range.
So for like something like that, I think when we got out at 6:30, I think I set my alarm for like 4:45 or 5, knowing that I'm not going to rush out, but I do set it early enough, take my time, get dressed, and just kind of ease into it instead of catapulting out because those days, unless there's a fire emergency, I'm not catapulting out of my bed. But yeah, it's almost an hour. I wake up because it's just kind of get my brain calibrated. The body's definitely gets stiff, sleeping, and especially my age. And then it's not that I'm old, but injuries and things. It takes a while. So yeah, I'm setting it off that pretty early and just trying to get loose. Like I said, just get those joints. It's really the joints move in, and then the muscles will stretch out. And then yeah, and then
Yeah.
when we get there, it's really like I'm finding myself hitting less balls to warm up for a round, and it's more about just getting the joints and the movement
Yeah.
through that. And then I got a couple things. One of them is actually outside, but we'll talk about stuff I use to help kind of get my body going.
Yeah, see, I need to be better about doing that because with the industry that I've been in, I mean, growing up in my career, I had to be able to just pop out of bed. I mean, there were times that I was on site when I was running crews, at least. I would get home at 5, 6 in the evening, and I'd be back on site at 11 p.m. for a concrete pour. So I'd force myself to sleep, and then you wake up on the first alarm, and you just get used to waking up pretty fast and getting where you need to go. So for me, it's really easy for me to wake up. Where I then get trapped is if we have a 6:30 round, I know it's a 30-minute drive and I want a 15-minute warm up. I back up and I'm like, okay, well, what is that? I need to leave at, you know, 5:45 for a 6:30 round, and I'll wake up at 5:35, dressed, coffee, out the door. And there's just no stretch time. I need to be better about waking up and letting my body wake up too, not just because my mind's there doesn't mean that my body is.
I know that feeling. Speaking of which, when it's early morning like that, I mean, if you're going on vacation, I know stuff's planned out a little bit differently, but
Mhm.
like mornings like this, you go up, you go get tea time. Do you, especially that early, do you have your outfit already picked, or do you just kind of grab it as you get up and start getting dressed?
No, I lay out my stuff night before for early morning rounds. I'm in the mindset of I don't want to have to use my brain until I have to use it. Part of that's more for work, right? Like
Hmm.
I lay out, I do the same thing for work. I put my dress shirt, my sport coat, everything is ready to go the night before. So it's shower, shave, get dressed. I'm usually out the door in 45 minutes, fully ready. I just I just don't want to have to think first thing in the morning. So outfits are fully laid out, ready to go. Underwear, socks, hat, sunglasses, all perfectly lined out, and I'm able to get in and out pretty fast. Half the time, my coffee cup's already underneath the little Keurig, so it's just walk over, start the Keurig, and while that's pouring, I'll go load my clothes into the truck and come back, grab my coffee, and then I'm out.
I'm similar. I'm not as detailed. I was like, I'll have the shorts, the shirts, and things like that, and or socks. It's all just like right there. It's like just pull it out. But the funny thing is I get up so early. Shelps likes to sleep in. She complains like, "Oh, you're so loud. I see the light." So doors are shut. I don't even turn on the overhead lights. Work is pretty much the same, where it's like everything is semi laid out or picked, and so I just go in the closet and just throw it on really quick. My routine is pretty much get cleaned up, dress, and I'm usually ready to go out the door in about 15 to 20 minutes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Now, the one thing I wish, because I'm bougie about my coffee, the pour over takes a little bit more time. I wish we had something that was just I could just start it, and there is a really nice coffee maker from a brand that I like to follow and use some of their products, and it's like Wi-Fi based, or you at least can set a timer like most coffee makers, but it has a drip sequence, and so it's like maybe for Christmas.
Yeah, the trick there is you then have to prep it the night before and have it ready to go,
Well,
which is that's half the battle because like our Keurig will do a timed pour as well, but I'm not gonna sit there put a pot in it, set the timer. Like that ain't gonna happen. So I know myself, and I know I have limited capacity when it comes at night, and picking my outfits about that.
and I'm just to go one step further. I actually grind a lot of my beans.
Yeah, at this point, you might as well just get a full Starbucks machine to put in your kitchen.
Well, my brother-in-law has a fancy espresso machine.
There you go.
Now I don't know if they grind it or buy it pre-ground, but I like to grind it because I'm good with 1 cup. but the beans definitely last longer than just the ground stuff, and so the sequence is a little bit better as far as the flavor goes. But yeah, it's like, oh, I gotta grind it, and then I'm worried about if I'm gonna grind it, is it gonna wake up the house? And luckily it doesn't. It's a pretty low muted grinder.
It's
Yeah.
good. Well, you're talking about gear here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's transition to on-course gear because now we know what's in your kitchen and your bougie drip coffee.
For sure.
So let's talk about
Yeah.
what you were leading me here with because I've been sitting on the edge of my seat waiting to hear.
So there's a couple things with that. One of them I think is definitely going to be for another episode is Shelbs wants to get into golf, and we went to she wanted to go to the PGA store. She's like, let's go to the PGA store because we're actually going to get around out in California. And I've got pictures of a shopping cart with stacked of clothes, outfits.
That's got to be her version or your version of you saying you want to go to Target with her, right?
Yeah, or Home Depot or Lowe's. But yeah, it's funny. And she just was like, she just hasn't really been in a while. And so she was just kind of like, I'm going to find something cute and wear. And after all of that, again, we'll get into it more. But it was fun. I was supporting her. I enjoyed it. I think it'll be good. We'll start to kind of incorporate it as like a couples activity for us, especially when the toddler, because he's showing early signs of kind of interest in golf. So it happens. I got it here all the time. It's playing all the time. Got some clubs always laying out, a golf putting mat that he's figuring out. So that's going to be interesting to see how it changes. And now the second thing is, I'm a gearhead. I'm an idiot on this stuff. I'd rather spend money on, let's try the new technology versus maybe I should just get myself fixed. And part of myself being fixed is, the injuries and things like that, trying to find a swing that works with my body. We've talked about coaches, nothing against their techniques, but it's hard, especially when you start with someone new. They don't know you. They don't know your body. They don't know your movements. When you go for a lesson, it's hard to just go through it and get technical until they really get.
Yeah.
And so I've struggled with that recently. And I think I've taken bits of it that we've talked about, but still now trying to find it back into me. But
yeah, absolutely.
As far as the gear that I have now, which I'm pretty happy with it all, there's a few things I'm just tweaking. It's not so much the club head, it's the shaft. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Just learning more about how that's more of the engine of the club versus the actual club head. All right. So top of the bag is currently, which this is probably not going to leave the bag for a while because I'm really happy with it. Definitely a sound and feel guy. And then third would be looks. So using the Callaway Elite Triple Diamond, it's a smaller compact size, but the shaping, I'm kind of old school in that way. It's like, I don't want the big, massive, heavy look. To me, it's like, if I'm going to get that mentally I'm saying I give up to try to be better because the clubs will help correct a lot of things. Yeah, right now, giving this a go, 10.5 standard. I dropped it down to 9.5 because the shaft I'm gaming has a little bit extra kick. Standard weight is 4 grams in the front. And then I did pick up aftermarket 12 gram for the rear for that little extra stability and launch as well for this because I think it comes with 9 as a standard.
Yeah, so you further move back that center of gravity, give you a little bit higher launch, higher spin. Yeah.
Yeah. A little more stability. Everybody's like triple diamonds are for pros, but I mean, club makers, they can't make the face hotter. They just can't. So what are other ways to benefit the golfer? And the face on this guy is whatever Callaway does is proven to be quite useful because I know I've got marks here on the toe and the heel, and I don't lose a ball like crazy. And if I do, I know right away it was because I did a swing air and not because the club face impact was affected. All right. Then the trend that has been going across the last year, got the mini, just because I feel like I want the mini and had to get the mini. I didn't go with last year's. I thought about the burner, but I was like, I'll just wait. So I got Callaway. You haven't noticed I'm a Callaway guy already. This one's cool. It does have that matte head look, which is nice. I wish the Triple Diamond actually came with this matte look. And everything's standard with this. I haven't done anything with it too much. Got the Kali Stiff 70. Again, pretty straightforward, but I really do enjoy this. I think with the extra little loft, the little extra different spin setup that it provides is a great alternate tee shot club. Primarily, it is a second tee club for me.
You don't have any other uses out of that right now?
Not right now. I mean, I've only been using it a couple months, and I really haven't practiced enough with the turf off the deck with it. But I also know my limitations. I'm not playing courses or tee boxes where so far back, even if I hit a 270 drive, oh, I got 230 or 250 into the green. I'm not going to take a driver off the deck. I'm not going to take this off the deck. If it's a par five, I'll position myself to try to get birdie. If it's a long par four, just take my medicine and just try to get par. Like not trying to win any tournament. So I'm not going to get crazy with it. So does that? Then I dropped from. So I think that's 9.5, 13.5. The 5-wood is, again, pretty stock as far as the way it sets up. Got it upright to Titleist TSR3. So I've had this one. This is probably my oldest club in my bag. And the TSR3 only came out a few years ago. But yeah, pretty standard. This one would be off the deck quite a bit to cover that 220 to 250 range, depending on how the conditions are. Because, you hit one low, it warms up. It could definitely get some release out of it. Used it in Chicago a couple times. Definitely was a great club. It came in handy up there with the conditions.
Absolutely.
All right. And then this is still my funny spot in my bag. My set came with a 4-iron. I think the 4-iron could work for me because the setup and the way I swing, the 4-iron works, but I just have to get it fitted better. I think with the setup I have, it's just not quite there yet. So kind of just going with a 7-wood GT2. Everything's stock on it right now. Don't use it a lot, but it's something I like more than the hybrids. I don't know. I know they were the craze for years, but recently with my swing changes and technique, the hybrid doesn't seem to suit me, which is weird.
Yeah, well, and I think hybrids have slowly moved away because the emergence of your high woods, the 7-wood, 9-wood wasn't a thing really. Let me phrase that. It was a thing. It wasn't as widely used even on tour, right? There's a handful of guys that play 7-woods now. So I think with the emergence of the 7 and 9-wood, kind of like the mini driver, right? It's made some other clubs obsolete. Top end hybrids are probably one of those.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think about it like with my swing. It definitely cuts. I just have a more natural swing with the wood. The head is bigger, so you're going to get more forgiveness. You're going to get a little bit longer shaft, so it's going to get a little more ball speed, more distance. So if you are trying to get that green or get close to that green 200 plus yards out, this would be an easier club to try to use than the 4-iron or even a hybrid in the mix. I'm not an elite ball striker, but this definitely does help quite a bit. And then from there, I go 5 through pitch. Yep, 5 through pitch. The Apex, the 2024 version, Apex TCBs. So the newer version, newer models that they've come out with, used blades for the longest time because that's what I grew up with. I just always mindset, learn to play better and practice harder. Don't worry about the forgiveness completely. I also don't like a huge iron head. So again, look is a huge thing. But glad I upgraded. Definitely more forgiving. Not so much with the face impact. My face impact, even off the toes, those blades actually weren't crazy off. Like the dispersion of everything was good. But with these, the forgiveness I do notice is with the sole. And again, I think a lot of design or club makers are going with a different sole design, turf interaction. So these definitely cut through way easier than my previous ones. But these are really nice. I did lose the forge feel, which I still really love, but these have a different kind of faceplate that I guess hold up a little bit better. Didn't look into it a ton, but it works. Getting used to them for sure. And
yeah, when you're cast, you definitely get better groove degradation. Yep. You get better lifespan out of it. At least that's what all the reps will say.
So it is a forged body, but it is a kind of a different faceplate. Yeah. So I think it will hold up, like you said. I think the grooves and the wear holds up better. But what's really cool is it's funny how this pattern sets up, but the back up here was like a high polished chrome, but it's actually designed to patina. So it's given kind of like that nice kind of warm look and not so much glare is coming off of them. So it's a really kind of a cool feature. They're all DG 120 S400s. Really like these. I tried some KBSs, but I've been learning more for myself that I prefer the feel and performance of a stouter, low launch, low spin shaft. At least just timing wise, it's just working with what I have. All right, and then going through the wedges, they're all Vokies. My Cleveland's got worn down, so I've upgraded to the Vokies this year. And I mean, they're great wedges, and there's no question about it. But one of the features I did like about it is just they're just unique and the way they build their stuff. So this one is their oil can finish. Again, I like kind of like the aesthetics of it. Couldn't get it engraved or anything just because the nature of when it was released. Again, this one I actually just got reshafted to my gap wedge. 50 with an 8-degree bounce. I got it reshafted to match my irons, so it's just going to be a continuous flow. So that was something I was toying with for a while. And then the sand and lobs are 54 and 58 respectively. Vokies bounce on the sand and 8 bounce on that. And I know they have the different grinds, but not going to get into it. But again, got these two guys, and I got them actually. Nice thing about it was got the names of the kids on them, so they're always kind of there with me.
That's awesome.
58 was the nice one that I dunked it on that par 5 out of the bunker. This one's like, okay, got it, done.
Yeah, staying in the bag permanently now.
It's not going out. All right, and then the putter is Scotty Newport currently 2+. I like it. I've been practicing with it a little bit more as far as getting the feel. It's just very natural. Now, I did switch out of a broomstick, which, again, part of injuries and things like that. The broomstick definitely helped with the back, the posture. If I paid attention more to the putting stats, I'd probably still be in it because I definitely feel that I was more consistent with it.
Your pace control was really good with it.
I know. I just kind of got to the point where it was more of a cumbersome annoyance to take this big putter out and not focus on the performance.
Well, I know you said you were struggling to putt, inside 10 feet and kind of consistently make those 5-footers with that broomstick. Maybe that's just a fielding for you, but pace control was good. But I'd agree you probably weren't dropping as many putts as you'd like.
Yeah. So depending on how the body goes over the next couple of years, the broomstick could come back just because it did feel better on that side of it. Maybe I just needed more time. I mean, it was in the bag for almost 2 years. But yeah, it's not out of the question to come back, but it's something I definitely want to put on pause for now. But and then I have a second guy, which kind of contradicts what I've been going with. I really do like the labs because I had the lab broomstick. And so this was just the stock. And I know I had the Oz. Trying to figure out that one was something different, but I don't know. There's something about, I know this was like the ugliest shape. I've always complained about this shape, but it just performs better. Like it's insane for me. I haven't put it in the bag officially yet. I actually was putting here on the mat and took both the Scotty and that, and it was like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10 on, or 10 out of 10 on one distance. So they're still very neck and neck. Pace has always been real good with me on these. It's just, I don't know. I just got to work with them both. I mean, I definitely miss the face and the center. Definitely see the performance benefit of it. And then with the Scotty, if I don't hit it right, you could still see the air.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. But I do have one other putter that I would like to mess with. It's a blade, but it's a little bit more forgiving blade, I think. So got this shorter handle for a lot more control, bigger face.
I bet your stats are great with that one.
I think it's going to work. So I'm going to try this one in the bag every once in a while.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's the club gear itself. Got a basic rangefinder, real cheap off Amazon. Trying out the shot scope to try to start tracking some of my data. Using the watch, got a great deal on it, and it's still got a learning curve. I only had 2 rounds with it, so still trying to mess with the settings and trying to get it to upload and everything. There was a couple connection issues I had previously, just because I think location, like it just took a while for it to link up, and we were already teeing off. So that's more for me.
Do you still have to carry that module with you if you're using the watch?
No, so the watch itself is the full package, I guess. So you don't have to, you have to connect it, sync it to get the courses loaded. Then everything sits on the watch, and the phone can stay in the cart. and then the watch just records everything. The tricky part, though, it doesn't always pick up the club. So if I'm standing holding it for a little bit, it will pick it up. But if it's kind of like a quicker pace, I've noticed that it's like I look and then I'm like, oh, it's off. It's just a new routine. I think just how I notice if I don't see it, I'll take the tag and just kind of tap it near the watch, and then it
Yeah.
picks it up. Because I was just definitely
Yeah.
missing some data points um, on the short side of things. Because sometimes chips and putts, I just like go up there and just give it a quick go. It doesn't always pick up those shots.
Yeah, for those listening that don't know, and we're again zero sponsors, we're just now getting started. Shot Scope is something that I bought and used when I was really focusing on my strokes gained, trying for some of the US mid amp stuff. I lost my module. Don't know where the heck it went.
And that thing was so tiny.
But it's a competitor to an Arcos, but it's a one-time purchase instead of Arcos's recurring fee. And I loved it. I mean, I thought it was great. I'm a quick player though, so I struggled with always remembering to make sure that the little module was tapped to the buttons on the club and make sure it was the right club. But it's a great product if you're really trying to focus on your games. That's awesome that you're using it. Maybe I need to see if I can sync up my watch and plug my buttons back in and see if it works.
I mean, yeah, I give it a go. I have the rangefinder, but sometimes you're just jumping out and it's cart path only, and they're like, well, how far am I? And I just don't want to take the gun, and I'm not very good at using the rangefinder in my hand. Sometimes just you get pumped in, you get going, and you got the adrenaline, and you're just like, I can't. I keep hitting the tree behind it. It's like 30 yards difference, or it's in meters. I don't know.
Probably meters.
It could be meters. Other than that, standard Callaway stand bag. I've dabbled in different golf balls, just like probably everybody does, and I think I'm pretty much sitting on. For me, never being officially fitted for a ball, definitely just performance consistency between the Chrome Tour X and the Pro V1X. That's just, again, not being fitted, playing enough and knowing my game. I see the most performance consistency with between those two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, those are great balls.
Yep.
Both of them, low launch, high spin.
And then kind of getting back to last little equipment here about, prepping, getting warmed up, trying to find that rhythm. So I do have one of those longer weighted swing sticks that I'll use to kind of help full range length to get the body in tune, kind of get that release and that feel. Again, I just buy products, I'm not sponsored or anything like that. So, I did get this performance stick with this little weight magnet. And it's a 7-iron setup, so you can use it easily in your house. So again, if you don't have time to get out, use your house, and the little magnet slides to help indicate if you're getting that proper release. And if you don't get that proper release, then it definitely doesn't. You're not engaging the body properly. So the swinging down and just kind of going through, that actually worked pretty well. Easy to more difficult to get that release. That helps tune, trying to help get that club head speed in the correct spot. But one of the other features that I like about it, which I did notice after the first practice session after this. Again, I don't know all the full sequence of it, still learning it. But, you take the magnet, drop this down, set it low already. And then one of the things I was having difficulty doing is lagging and setting my wrists in the backswing. And when you do it properly, this magnet you'll hear a click, which means you're now getting the club in a better position on the backside. So again, helping with learning the mechanics a little bit better. Definitely saw much better distances. I could feel the club in the shaft a little bit more, feel the lag, and the distances while I'm striking it improved dramatically just from that. And I wasn't swinging hard, but just that extra release and creating that lag.
Yeah, and I saw that had a little grip trainer on it too, which is
that helps. Mostly, I mean, my hands have been pretty good in that position. That again, my grip is thankfully like the least of my worries. It's more of my rotation and setting my hands in my backswing.
Yeah, those for me, those grip trainers really work because I tend to get my right hand a little under the club. Not, it's not a baseball swing, but I struggle to release the club at times, and I'll get swiping in right, not slices, but little push fades. I still have an in to out swing, so sometimes I'll tend to my hand will slowly migrate under the club, so I can really make sure I'm releasing it. So those grip trainers are always my zero. It's every couple months I'll put my grip trainer on my 8-iron and just hit some on the range to recalibrate where my hand needs to be. It's like they say it's like a boat, right? You get the feel and you slowly migrate, and then you got to slowly go back. And so I love those grip trainers because it gets me back to zero pretty quick.
Yeah, they're nice. I used them before in the past. And, they're cheap. They're just throw them on club, and it's just like, oh wow, the hands were like way off. So they really help.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
I did my side. What about your side? What do you carry
Ooh.
now?
Yeah. So we'll start with clubs, I guess. Here, nice little beat up swag head cover. I'm big into the custom covers. Granted, I don't really have any new ones, but I'm a Cobra guy. Dark Speed LST, set at 9 degrees with an Acura GX M4 shaft. So pretty low launch, low spin setup for my swing speed. It works. I like to hit a little fade with it. It's not my favorite club as far as consistency. I really need to get better with it. I've talked about cutting it down. It's at a stock length right now, but I think the mini driver has kind of shown me that maybe I do better with something a little shorter, because when I'm hitting it well, it is an absolute weapon. But I'm hitting it well 50% of the time, and when it's off, and you've seen it. It's a toe hook here. Or I get quick with it. Tempo's just off. But I was fitted to this last summer, so I know it's the right club. I just think I need to tweak with the actual length and setup of it. But shaft, I think, is right. The new guy, TaylorMade R7. I had to be different than you. And I have the Tour 80 VF7X shaft. Love the shaft. Love the club. I mean, you've seen me play with it. It's almost going as far as my driver right now, which just means I have another gear in my driver most likely, because this is a 13 and a half head. Granted, at league night, one of the coaches put me to 12 and a half because I said that it was setting up closed. Ever since he changed it, I have not been consistent with the club. I think I'm going to go back to 13 and a half, but I went with 13 and a half, one for gapping, but two, I wanted more spin, and I paired it with a low spin, low launch shaft to kind of combat a huge jump in spin. I wanted to sit somewhere in the 3,000 to 3,500 window, which I think I'm around 3,200 with this club. So it's been perfect. Loved it. And my use for this is all over. You've seen me hit it off the tee. I'll hit it off the deck. I love using it around the greens. I think I told you the other day I'm playing Field Ranch East course with my buddy next Friday evening. And it's great for around greens on tight fairways. It's one of those, like, if I'm not feeling comfortable with chipping, I'll grab this. And it's a big reason why I didn't want to go with, the Elite. It's more rounded bottom. This is pretty flat. Even the Titleist GT 280 is a flatter, smaller head, but to me that just looked like a 3-wood max, not a mini driver.
Good point.
So that's why I ended up going with the R7. It's kind of in between the GT and the Callaway as far as size. Absolutely love this club. And I'm sure we'll talk about this more next week, because my buddy that helped me spec it out, he's a TaylorMade fitter, and he's in Beyond on our next episode. And him and I had a bunch of texts going back and forth because he knows enough about my swing data to help me. So he helped me pick this setup, and it's been amazing.
Which does bring up a good point, because we've talked about it. You got specced out with that, and I know your driver's the iffy, 2 different shafts. Could it be maybe shorten the driver shaft a little bit from where it is, but switch it to that VF, maybe a different, or at least try it.
No, you're 100% correct. And when I got fit for the driver, we did try the Tour VF, and it was, I'm going to say, marginally different in data. So that is in the back of my head. Maybe I just need to go get the Tour, the 6X of the Tour 80 VF instead of this Acura. My coach and I, my buddy and I now, we talked about that the other day, because we did try that shaft out, and I hit it well. The Acura just was marginally better, and they're the same cost. So I ended up going with the Acura, but you're 100% correct. I think that's something I need to consider as well.
The mini configuration is different, but it might be something to consider.
Well, and even going to a 7X in the driver, typically your driver is lighter, so 6X makes sense. I tend to get off on my tempo and control, so maybe even putting the 7X in my driver makes sense as well, to keep that weight, to keep my tempos. All of the above is being discussed. I'm not playing competitively this year, so I'm not putting focus in it. So it'll probably be an off-season type thing. So right now, it's my driver's just sitting in my bag, but I do need to solve it. Along with the next club I need to solve when I get back into competitive mode is, right now I'm a Strixon ZX 2-iron. God, my clubs are a mess. I did not clean them after last round. Love a forged club, love a forged head. This one's a little more compact than I actually think in my office desk here, I have the old head. Stealth TaylorMade head. I took that off this shaft, and I ended up putting the 2-iron. The reason I took it off the shaft is because this this shaft broke originally. So this is a stock shaft that I absolutely hate. I need to get a new one. And that was probably another reason I went with Acra. Acra does a step down model of their shaft, so I can put the exact same Acra shaft in a 3 wood and a 2 iron. They make different profiles. That was another reason why I went Acra, because then I was like, okay, well, I can have essentially the whole top of my bag have the same shaft profile, which would be awesome from consistency and swing weight perspective. But like you said, probably not the right club.
That actually, yeah, say that actually right just brings up a good point with your guy next week. There's always that question: do you match the top graphites for your woods and stuff, or based on your swing and what you're looking for, do you do one for driver, one for woods, or 3 wood mini, and then like the 7 wood is something different? So that's a good question.
It's a great question to ask him. I'm sure he'd have a great answer for you there, because I think I've heard it both ways. My buddy and I have gone round and round when I was getting fitted, and it's part of fitting that I'm really interested to talk to Mike about is how future proof are you setting your bag when you get fitted, because it's not just about the present, it's about where you're going, and I think some people forget that. So great questions to ask him, because I would love to get a fitter's take on that. But the 2 iron, I think it's 18 degrees. So it's the same as a 5 wood, little low launch, little low spin. It's great. I love it for Texas wind. But what I'm missing out is really touching a green at 250, 260 and holding it. This club can reach that far in the air, but it's not. It's a bullet, and a lot of times it won't hold. There are definitely times where I can set it and I can get it a little bit higher in the air, but that's when I'm really, really playing well. I'm putting the practice in and I'm working with it and I'm working with my trajectory on it, and I just don't have that time anymore. So I love it. I hate having head covers in my bag. So the thought of putting a 5 wood or 7 wood is not ideal, but all of the data is telling me that I need a 5 or a 7 wood. Most likely a 7. I think a 5 is a little too juiced. I think it would create a big gap between my 4 iron and this club. But that's something, again, I'll consider in the off season and figure out. For right now, this is the club. It works well. It's a safety net for me. I mean, I like it. So from there, I got fit 2021. So I've had these clubs for almost 4 years now, I think. 7 Strixon. Like you said, it has that V-Sol, so for turf interaction, and the DFW Metroplex. We have pretty firm fairways for the most part, unless you're playing a nice country club. So I do like this. It's good turf interaction. Granted, I take a pretty shallow divot as it is. We already talked about the fact that I have a pretty in-out swing anyways. Like to hit a draw. Love this club. Got fitted for it. And I was coming from muscle backs like you. We kind of, I mean, you're 10 years older than me, but we grew up in the same kind of era of, I grew up in Mizuno blades. I played high school with Mizuno blades. Blades are probably not the answer, I think. I mean, shoot, Brooks Koepka's playing these same clubs, right? Blades don't have to be the answer, but I love them. I love the compactness. So when I got fit, the fitter was like, you're not going to like the clubs. I'm going to tell you right now. This was 10 minutes in. He saw my swing. He saw some of my mishits. My mishits weren't bad, but it was a 2.5 mile per hour difference, which equates to a 6-7 miles. So, I mean, essentially each club had a 12-yard window of which it was landing, which was way too big. I mean, I think, and again, question for Mike next week, what is that window? At least my fitter was saying a 5 scratch golfer should definitely be closer to maybe 1 mile an hour difference, so that you're fitting in a 6-yard window. So anyways, the data showed me this was the club. I looked down at it. It's definitely a little more chunky top line than I like, but it doesn't have an offset. Or at least a minimal offset. It's very forgiving. I think I was like 1.5 mile per hour deviation. So the dispersion's pretty tight yardage wise. So my distance control's been great with it. I have the Dynamic Gold X7s. So if that tells you anything about what my swing used to be, really freaking stout iron shafts. I need to go to the X100s or what you have, the S4s. I just don't have, I mean, again, 4 years worth of swing changes. And, it's changed, but I'm at the point that if I buy shafts and reshaft these, might as well just get new clubs. That's, you're probably $60-$80 per club in versus, spending $160 a club and just getting new ones. I'm just holding out at this point, trying to see what I want to do. Again, off season and money and all of that. But I play well with these. So the worst thing is when I'm not practicing, fatigue sets in towards the end of the round because it's a 125 gram shaft. These are heavy, they're stout, and it's hard to lay off a club. So body gets a little tired. But love them. I've played great with them. So I don't plan to send them anywhere anytime soon.
And I know you mentioned it's like you don't, and even with me, even mine, it's like you don't get in that golf shape even halfway through the round or even that. It's just the club just doesn't feel right. It feels really sporty or stiff. You just can't get that action with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've talked about some of the back issues, and I tend to get quick with it. My quick is a left miss. My last round played on Sunday is exactly that. I could not fade a ball, which I'm not. My fade is really a straight ball might move 1-2 yards to the right with my irons. I'm not a big fader. I'm the opposite of a Colin Morikawa, right? I like to draw the ball. So, but when I get quick, I'm hitting 20-yard draws with my 8 iron, which is unacceptable, right? It's too much. So with the stiff shaft, it further causes that. So I is what it is. But generally, I'm working enough that I can alleviate that. But when your body's tired, your body's tired. You just can't get your back to catch up with your hips. So is what it is. I'm gonna take that round as a one off. I mean, it is. We all have those. From there, as you can see, I mean, 2 iron is a forged head. Strixon forged irons. Bettinardi wedges forged. I love the soft feel. You wear through it a lot faster. I mean, I've had to sharpen the grooves on this one twice now, so I think I'm hitting the end of the life cycle on these. But as you can see from the sole there, this is a 10-degree bounce. I really like to leave the head open. I like to be able to hit flops with it. I actually don't close this face much. It's really an 80 and in club for me. I can pump it out farther than that, but I don't like to. This is my 59, so this is the lob. I have the same club in a 52 and a 54. They all play about a half degree different, though. It's 51.5, 55, and 59.5. And that was just working with my buddy coach, right? Never know what to call him because he's not really my coach anymore. But he custom bent all the lofts to match the spin profiles on the launch that I need, and he played with my lies. These are all like 2.5 degrees flat. My irons are, I think, 2 degrees flat. That's something we'll talk about next week with Mike is loft and lie and how that plays into the fitting process. But love these clubs. This guy is my 50 and in. I know they say you should, be able to use other clubs and other wedges, for a bump and run. I can use my 58 on a bump and run all day, especially Texas greens roll out. So love the Betties. I do need new clubs, new irons, or new wedges. Again, just put that in the queue of things to spend money on that I'm not going to spend money on anytime soon. And then lastly, I made the switch over to lab this year. Milled face. That was one of my biggest things about the labs is I hated that they didn't have a milled face. I don't know, just hate the sound. So I always played a Scotty Cameron. I had a Phantom 5.5 that I loved. It had the wings on it, but I tend to miss my putts right, leave the face open, push them. So for me, I always loved a left to right moving putt, which is opposite of most right eye dominant people because I was already a push player so for me, it was harder on a right to left moving because I would miss the putt high. Yeah. And I'm a pretty aggressive putter as it is with pace. I don't like to play a lot of break. I like to take out as much as I can. So it struggled. So when I moved to this, I started missing putts left, which was great because it moved my eye line. It meant that I was actually putting square where I was aiming. But then the milled face it's a little bit duller, quiet sound. I don't like hearing. I don't like the auditory, which is the same reason why I play soft wedges. Everything's forged, everything's soft. You don't get a lot of sound. So this putter has changed my game. I think I instantly dropped, about 4 strokes on the green because I was starting to, anything inside 10 feet, I'm giving a run, which I wasn't before. I was a 34 to 36 per round putter. So that was definitely a part of my game that was struggling until this club hit the bag. So, those are the clubs, all Golf Pride MC4 plus 4 midsize grips. And then from there, I do the Pro V1X. Similar to you. It's low launch, high spin in Texas. That low launch is critical with my swing speed. I'm already getting the ball up in the air. Love the Pro V1X. And then I rock with the Vessel bag. It's expensive, and I'll buy a new one every 2 to 3 years. But the pockets within the pockets is absolutely amazing. I used to have Ziploc bags all piled up, labeled of, oh, these are gloves, these are accessories, these are all the things. But now that I have pockets within pockets, I kind of just put everything in there. I know where it is. Easy to get to, but definitely need a new one. So, maybe we'll need to tag Vessel and I'll have to try to get them to send me one.
There you go.
They're a small little investment when you buy them, but they're worth the money. They last and they do what you need. So that's my current setup. Like I said, not putting any money into it this year, just kind of rocking with what I have. And the game's fine. It's right now. I know it's me. I'm not putting the practice in. So, that's where I'm currently at. So I'm excited to have Mike on next week. And, I told him he needs to make sure to listen to this episode so that he can give us a hard time about our setup and tell us how we need something different.
He'll sell us a whole different bag.
No, it's the PXG model, right? That's he spent time with TaylorMade, then he went to PXG, and I think he's back with TaylorMade now. I say I think, I know he's back with TaylorMade now. So the PXG model is trying to sell you a whole bag. So he might come in here to say that we need all TaylorMade stuff, and
Probably.
we'll see where he goes from there.
Well, no, we can't do all TaylorMade. I mean, shoot, between my setup, your setup, and if you get like a ping wedge, I think we have every major brand between the two of us.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All of my irons are one thing. My drivers are, I got a mixed bag. Funny thing was, I had a pretty close to a full TaylorMade bag, 4 years ago before I got fit, and I always thought that was funny switching. At that point, you're like, I got to play TaylorMade ball. I might as well be on staff here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that with Callaway at times. Again, whole different conversation for another time. Just what we feel, what our preferences were. I just took specs from previous experience in fittings and just kind of moved it to these new sets that I progressed through. But I'm not switching brands because I just usually just don't want to. If something comes out, maybe.
I'm extremely brand agnostic, and I wasn't that way a few years back, but now I am. Now it's all down to the data. It's what plays right, what is what I want. And again, talk about all of this fitting stuff next week with Mike, but for me, it's all about just enjoying golf a little bit more. I'm gonna play whatever club allows me to enjoy golf more. Don't care what it is. I have my preferences on, like I said, forged metals, but outside of that, at this rate, these Strixons showed me that I don't need the blade. I don't need a thin top line. It's all just about hitting the ball well and enjoying it. So
yeah, that's where I'm at. Again, discussion for another time, but if it's like we were wanting to look for other goals, then that would be like either swing changes or equipment changes to fit the swing better for certain goals. Yeah. And so it all kind of depends on, again, what we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting having Mike on next week, talk about all of this. And hopefully we'll be able to help others. Both of us you and I at least have done some fitting, some lessons. Get the perspective from a fitter on the right questions to ask if you've never been fit before, and getting answers on top end shaft alignment like you were asking. What I think a lot of people don't do wedge and putter. So what is his take on those? I don't even know if he fits putters or if he's just straight clubs. It'll be great to have him and get a fitter's perspective on what us amateurs should be looking for.
Okay. Sounds good.
Perfect. Well, all
right.
July 4th, right? So hopefully I'll have some good plans set up. We got done before all the families woke up, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, next week we'll be having Mike on, and we look forward to it.
Awesome.